Hello and welcome to my workshop and welcome to part 2 of creating Willoughby Trail. If you remember from part 1, we got quite a bit of work done. We put in the pond, we put in the stream, we did base landscaping work, we've created the footbridges, the pathway, things like that. In this video, we're going to get in all the structures. We're putting in lighting, so you'll get to see how the wiring is done. We're putting in flowers, shrubs, and trees. We'll be putting in the water effects for the pond and the stream. And finally, we'll be adding the figures to all these little mini scenes that are going on inside the larger scene. If all of that sounds like fun to you, you have come to the right video. Let's get started. So here we are in the workshop, and it's here where we're going to install all the lighting for this scene. We're going to be putting in a spotlight for the Willoughby sign. We have pole lights that'll go along the pathway to light up the pathway, the farmhouse, the pickup truck, and then the coolest thing, I think, is a campfire that'll actually be burning right here next to the creek. So all of that's going to be installed and wired here, and then we're going to move it out to the layout and install it, and there you'll see how I'm doing all the wiring for these lighted fixtures, and we'll get a chance to fire them up and see what they look like. So that's coming up next. But first, we have to install everything. So let's get busy doing that. Okay, we have all of our lighted fixtures installed. Everything's glued down. I'm going to let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll be picking this up from the workshop and bringing it right over to the layout to install it to the layout. It's then that you're going to see how all the wiring is done using the Woodland Scenics lighting hub process, and we'll take it from there. But for now, we're done, and we're just letting everything dry. Well, we're about as done as we can be working on this scene in the workshop, and now it's time to move the scene and install it on the layout itself. We have an awful lot of wiring to do, and just before we get started with that, I want to give you a quick overview of the wiring equipment we're going to be using. Let's go check it out. This is the control center for my layout, and when it comes to lighting, I use Woodland Scenics Just Plug systems. You can go to the Woodland Scenics website and get all sorts of information on exactly how all this stuff works. I would encourage you to do that because this makes wiring super easy. I myself am no electrician. Wiring and electronics have always been difficult for me, and this has made everything super simple. So go to the website and check it out. For the sake of this video, though, I'm just going to give you a quick overview. These are basically light hubs that you see here. And a light hub, each light hub has 4 ports. The ports are wired, and the wires go underneath the layout to these things called port sharing devices, which are, you're going to see in a moment, are kind of like big extension cords. Our lights that we're using in this scene are all going to be wired to the port sharing device, which are all going to be linked to this light hub. So this will be like the control panel for all the lighting that we're doing for that one particular scene. Let's go underneath the layout right now and see what those port sharing devices look like. Okay, so there's our holes that the wires in the scene are going to drop down from, and then they're going to go right over here to one of 2 port sharing devices. Here's port sharing device 14. You can see each of the ports are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have a chart that I use to document where everything is wired to so that I know which port sharing device and lighting hub controls each light. So here's a page out of my lighting reference chart, and what I've done is I've just recorded all my lighting by scene. So for example, here in the scene Golden Pond are all the lights that are in that scene, the lighting hub that they're connected to, the line number in the hub they're connected to, the port sharing device that they're connected to, and so on. And so it makes it really easy to determine if there's a problem with any lighting. I'll be able to get to it right away, and I know where it's connected to. And we have our sheet all set up for our Willoughby scene. I'll be just handwriting in all this information as we connect the lighting, and then I'll type it up later to make it look pretty. So here's another tool that I have in tracking my port sharing devices. I have 15 of them on the layout now. So I have this wall chart, and I've made notes of where all the port sharing devices are underneath the layout. So at any time, if I need to get to a particular port sharing device, I know exactly where it is. And by looking at the lighting reference chart, I know exactly what's connected to that port sharing device. Well, now it's time to move the scene from the workshop out to the layout and get it installed. And because of all the wiring from all the street lights in the house, the farmhouse, things like that, I had to come up with a creative way to balance it as I get the wiring done first and then lay the scene down flat onto the area on the layout. So this is, you can see where I have all these different hubs for the lights to go into, and these are all wired from the lights to the hub and then down below to the port sharing devices that I showed you earlier. Had to be kind of careful in laying this down to make sure I didn't crimp any of the wires. Let's see if it works. It does. So that's looking good. All the lights are working properly and everything seems to be working well. Next, we're going to add in some of these large rocks into the creek. And I actually got them from the sand, so I had to sift them out of sand and then lay them in by hand. So it's a little time consuming, but I like the look that I ended up getting. Well, now that I'm done with all the prep work for the creek and the pond, it's time to add the water effects. And I'll be using Woodland Scenics Deep Pour Water. This is the same product that you've probably noticed I've used before in other parts of scenes in my layout. And I'm always happy with it, so I'm going to use it again for this part of the project as well. After this dries, we're going to be adding water ripples, and that's kind of a cool effect that you can see, where water ripples will give the illusion of movement of the water. And then after that dries, we're going to be adding foliage, trees, and some flowering trees, which are going to add some wonderful color to this scene. I think you'll really enjoy that. So stay tuned, it's all next. But first, I got to get to mixing this stuff so we can get it poured. Stay tuned. Well, we've got the finishing touches put in on the town of Willoughby. You see some folks there on the sign welcoming those visitors that are entering the town. We've got the kids playing baseball in the field. We have people sitting on the uh, deck fishing out in the pond, and other people enjoying the day on a park bench. We have some people walking through the pathways of Willoughby. A lot of different trees. I put in a lot of different types of trees, different sizes and different types, including the flowering trees, which I thought was a nice addition. And then, of course, the pickup truck, the lighted farmhouse were nice additions as well. The street lights or the pathway lights working well and lighting up the path. We have more people on the second footbridge enjoying that area. And then, of course, over here we have some kids sitting on a picnic bench playing guitar for some folks around the campfire. And they all seem to be enjoying that. So that's it. Willoughby is basically done. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you picked up a few tips and tricks of the how-tos as I made this scene. And I hope you'll come back and visit my YouTube channel again. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.